We'll call the meeting order at 10:38 a.m. December 2nd, 2024 for the Middle Creek Restoration or Project Committee. Yeah, so many different names, right?
Mhm.
So, yeah, so I know that we know each other. So let's see if we can get a roll call for that, and if anyone's online, I guess we will. So I'll start out, Eddie Crandall, District 3 Supervisor.
Harry Lyons, Middle Creek Coalition.
Bruno Sabatier, District 2 Supervisor.
Mary Jo Velasquez, Middle Creek Coalition.
Angela Palmadawa, Water Resources, Watershed Protection District.
And then whoever's online, if you could
Oops, there was somebody.
unmute
There
and
is. Juan, I can see you, but if you're talking, I can't hear you. Yes, I still can't hear you, but if you can access the chat. But so far, we just have Lucy and Puan on there.
okay. All right, with that, we'll go ahead and move forward to consideration of items not appearing on the posted agenda. Any extra items?
I did have one. Oops, sorry.
Is Angela going to be our facilitator from now on?
Today, yes.
I wasn't asked. I wasn't asked officially. So if you would like me, I need a request.
Could we do it here, or would you rather?
I didn't even have an invite for this meeting, so I just want to ask, like, if it's up to you guys. Just let me know.
I think it would be invaluable to have her here.
Yeah.
I have high regards for Angela. I think that needs to be a decision by the department head to know what's best in that department for what is available and what is not available. But just know that if you are a facilitator, I would be grateful.
Yeah, I highly recommend as well.
Yeah,
Yep.
we all agree.
Thank you.
So do we want to formalize that, or do a recommendation to the Water Resource Director, or if you hear us, he knows, I don't know.
Yeah, if there's consensus,
Yeah.
it'll be on the meeting minutes.
No.
Can you access the chat or hear that, Puan? And then also, if you want to call my cell phone to get audio, participate in the meeting, know that that's an option.
I just figured out there's a camera in that.
Oh, there.
It moves around.
Look over there.
What's she hallucinating now?
So it moves around. So whoever talks, it like zooms. So that will be part of the recording, just FYI. It always gets the really flattering
I'll
profile.
make sure to not make any faces.
Okay.
All right, so with that, we'll move on to, oh, good?
Sorry. I did have an item
All right.
for not on the posted agenda.
Uh-huh.
If that's okay.
Yeah.
We did post an extra help position on the Facebook. Oh, okay, let's see. Hello. Hello? Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. So that's better. I think I'm here. I don't know like why I'm not audible on the Teams. Can you guys hear me on the Teams now?
Yeah, we can, and we also hear something in the background, sounds like,
Yeah, it's just the feedback from that.
oh, I thought it was a conveyor belt, like.
Yeah, if you turn off the volume for your Teams meeting. And then just go through the audio through the phone, and I'll put it right next to the owl. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's on your end just because Lucy was able to speak through the Teams meeting, so it might be something with the computer or something. But
Okay, so how does it sound now?
it's good.
Okay, so I'm on the Teams or on the call?
You're on the phone is the only audio that we can get from you.
And I would say best thing is turn off Teams
sounds
on
good.
his
So I
end.
think I should plan to use that one. Yeah. So yeah, I think I heard it before. I think Angela, you did got an email from me. You and Lucy, like I did send out like the agenda and the slide itself to both of you, and I did ask like we just in case if I'm not able to move the slides, you need to step in and
Yeah,
take in the role of water resources.
Yeah, I prepared for that. I got that email. The committee asked if I would be here for facilitation, meeting facilitation going into the future. And I said yes, but it is up to you. And I just need the meeting invites with the meeting details.
No,
Yeah.
at least for
Okay.
today that I think I did send out an email to you in advance. So just want to clarify that if you
Okay.
didn't saw that already.
Okay, and then we're on item, whatever item is.
Yeah.
Oh, just extra things posted. I'm just sharing the extra help position that was opened for the program coordinator part-time for this. And then the post, it's on our Facebook. I think we'll do a paid, I just talked to my accountant this morning, so we might do a paid advertisement for this to get wide distribution, but please share with your networks. It is available on the HR website. And it's basically like me, but part-time. It's specifically just for this project. And I'm hoping somebody that's been around Lake County knows who the people are, knows about the project a little bit, has heard of it, and maybe has some real estate background, or meeting facilitation and stuff, because they would be doing the facilitation at that point, and knowing all the who's and the whats and everything. So, yeah.
Good.
Okay.
All right.
Did you have anything to add to that, Fallon?
Yeah, no, I think that's good.
Okay.
Pawan, can I ask you a favor?
Yes, please.
Can you maybe turn off Teams? Because that way you'll still hear what's happening in the meeting here. Because we're getting a little bit of feedback from your phone, from what you're hearing on Teams.
So turn off its microphone.
Oh, okay.
Turn off your computer speaker.
Or turn off Teams
Actually, I think I
altogether.
joined both the Teams and Zoom because I was on the Zoom before. So let me see if I can.
Yeah, the Zoom was gonna end, so we had to put in a Zoom or a Teams link, because there's no more meetings can be on Zoom unless they're, yeah.
There we go.
The feedback is
Great.
no longer there. Thank
Looks
you.
good.
Hey,
It sounds good.
So does it make it better now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think I was on Zoom and Teams both.
That's what does it. All right, so with that, I think we can move on to the next item, which is board action, approve minutes from October 7th, 2024, Middle Creek Project Committee meeting.
So I'd like a correction. In 3.1, it says Supervisor Sabatier, instead of rain levy, it should be rain levy. Instead of rain levy, it should be the ring
Yeah.
levy.
R-I-N-G.
So the first one stays instead of rain, but the second one should be ring, R-I-G, instead of R-A-I-N.
Oh, you're correcting a previous correction statement?
Yeah.
Okay.
The reign of the levy.
Yeah, that's all I had.
I had under the 4.1, with the Clear Lake Duck Club, I asked about that, and I asked, it says it's not just the wetland parcel, they were combining the wetland parcel we want with an upland parcel in the sale. And I still don't know hopefully we'll get an update on that when we get down to the property.
Oh, is there any corrections for the minutes?
Yeah. that's what
Oh,
I'm saying.
so you said,
It says, Dr. Velasquez, is the Clear Lake Duck Club still for sale?
right,
The
okay,
wetland parcel was listed for sale. It should add at the end with the upland parcel.
with upland parcel, okay.
Because that's why we couldn't buy it, because it included the upland parcel.
I'm gonna make the corrections and give it to Lucy at the end of the meeting, so it's easier for her to,
Okay.
or so we're not making corrections on corrections again next time.
Okay.
All right, is there?
Oh,
any
and at
more-
the top, it should say minutes, not agenda, on the header.
Right. Providing there's no one else on Zoom from the public or anything.
I move to approve the meeting minutes with amendments.
I second.
Did you have someone?
Daniela, Kazera, CPA Director from Habimatul Pomo of Upper Lake, has joined the meeting.
Yay.
Can you hear us, Daniela?
Yeah, I can hear you. I didn't have a Teams link, so I was just working on the agenda with the Zoom link. So
Yeah.
that's why I couldn't hear
Thank
anything.
you. Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah. technology this morning.
All right, so I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Then I will abstain, because I wasn't here at that one, so the 301 passes, and we'll move on to the next item on the agenda. Parcel or project area parcel acquisition, and 4.1 updates, and 4.2 discussion on non-willing sellers. So we'll start with 4.1.
So yeah, I think I will probably give update on that. DWR has like already approved the revised appraisal. So right now the monument is reaching out to the property owners. And I think the one issue or like one thing they have noticed is like there is a high possibility that the Seychelles property owners might request to sell like the entire property, because right now the appraised parcel only includes the part which is needed for the project. So we were checking with DWR in advance, saying what happens like in case if they request that. So I did exchange a couple of emails with DWR, provided whatever they were requesting the information, and made it clear that that's a possibility. I think they are still checking with their team, but I did ask the monuments to go ahead and ask them on the revised appraisal or like whatever amount we have, like do they agree with that or not? In case if they comes back, like we have already initiated that conversation with the DWR.
Do you mind if I interject?
Yes,
So
no problem.
I don't believe it should be a problem, because it used to be the reverse conversation of, can we buy partial parcels? And so we've already bought historically using these funds from DWR. We have purchased entire properties even when portions of it are outside of the project. So I don't believe it would be a problem. It sounds like the emails have already been submitted over to DWR, so we'll see what their response is. But I don't see that being an issue. And if it's possible to do that and that way it helps us move forward with Seychelles, because we've been working on it for so long.
Yes, so I think the case is like it depends on like what purpose or like what thing they would be doing with the remaining parcel. So just in case, I think there was something like it has to be like physically impacted or like not being able to do the things they were doing in the past, which I did provided them some information saying that they used to have like a vegetable stall or something where they farm on the same property and then sell it on the upside part of that, like which from the road we can see that, and that does justify it, saying they can't use it as intended or as initially they were using it. So I did provide that justification, but I think it's they do need the approval from their real estate branch or the other one, which is general services or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think in the previous one also should have some cases like that, like which justifies it within there. So as far as it does that, I think it should be okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I think we have hand from Danilo.
Okay, there we go. Go ahead, Daniela.
This is on personal, not tribal. For the Seychelles properties, when's the last time Water Resources contacted them?
Yes, this is for Seychelles property only.
Yes, but I'm asking, when is the last time you guys had a discussion with the Seychelles property owners? Because I have personal connections to them, and I let them know this property was on your guys' agenda as being reappraised, and they haven't received anything from Water Resources or Monument in the past 1.5 years or more.
I think they should have received in like last month or so. If not, probably our monument is preparing their documents or something. They should be like the monument should be reaching out to them very shortly, like in a couple of weeks, I believe. or if not officially, they should have received a call. So you are saying like you talked with them recently, like in last 2-3 weeks, and they have not received anything?
That's correct.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can check with Monument, but the last time I had a meeting with them, they said like they are preparing their document and they will reach out or like at least give them a call. And the reason they were waiting was like because we were having this conversation with DWR saying what will happen if they request the whole property, because there is a likelihood that they will request to sell the whole. And the other reason on that is even though it adds only like a small little more parcel, but the cost is way higher because there is a lot more structures to that section of the lot. So I think it was like about $1 million more than the previous one. It would be $1 million roughly. So that was like we were talking with DWR about that.
So just to be clear, there has been no official communication with the Sage House yet.
Yes, I think probably that might be the case if you say like they have not been in last 2-3 weeks. So they will be reached out shortly.
Okay.
So hopefully by the next report here in January, we can have an update that someone has reached out to them.
Yes, yeah, I think I can provide that update in January.
Thank you. All right.
And I think, so the other points I have here is about the Monuments approach to Middle Creek project area properties, because in I think the last meeting we discussed about what about some of the parcels which were for sale, like listed online, and is anybody monitoring that or not? So it addresses that concern, saying yes, we do. I think I raised this thing with Monument and they said like they do keep a track of whatever is listed, and many times like they have been in touch with the same owners, and they know most of them out there because they've been working for us such a long time. And many times like they do say like they want to sell or get appraised, and many of them have gotten appraisal done, but after that they plan to not proceed with it. So that's the case. I think this was about like the one property we talked about last time that was listed in, it was the Duck Club or something. So yeah, they were aware of that thing. I don't know, it was maybe like some price related thing that where they don't agree with what we are offering them or what we can offer. So
You sound kind of muffled. If you could repeat what you just said. There you go.
what was the question?
You sounded muffled on that last statement you made.
Oh, okay. No, I was saying that it was the Duck Club or something. Like I think we discussed about that in the last meeting, and I did brought it with the Monument, and they said like yeah, they were aware that it was listed for like sale online.
Okay.
Hey, Puan, who's the contact at Monument who reaches out to the property owners? Is it a Tim or a Jeremy? Or is it somebody else?
Yeah, so they have a team. I think both of them, the Cami, that's the girl there, like who reaches out directly. And then they, I think, sends a letter to once they have. I think I remember Cami was a girl like who gives a call directly to the people.
Okay, so maybe Danielle, if you have other future communications with the Secho properties, if someone from Monument, Cami, you said, Puan, just to give them heads up if someone's trying to contact them.
And I think it also depends on like what type of conversation they are having or what things they need to be addressed. So depending on that, like it's not always one person, like it might be one or another who gives the call.
Go ahead, Steve.
So, I don't have all the information in front of me. It's just basically based on the conversations that we're having right now. We've been working on this since 2008, I think, was the first funding that we received.
Yeah.
Obviously, this group was put together in 2019, 2020, whenever it was. And then we kind of resurged with the new amount of funding that was made available. I don't know what's in the contract right now. I don't have it in front of me with Monument. I don't know what their capabilities are, but I know that it would be really nice if there can be some consistent communication, because we're talking about 30+ properties. We're not talking about thousands or hundreds. At least I would suggest either quarterly or every 6 months that something is being sent saying we are still working on, and of course, depending on what the property situation is. If it's a non-willing seller, it would be one type of letter. We're still interested in your property. Please contact us if you have any questions. We're still working on this. For those that are willing sellers, we're still going through the process. Thank you for your patience. If you have any questions, it would be nice to have consistent communication than a huge gap, if that's true. Again, I don't have all the information in front of me. I'm really just using the information that was provided. But if somebody is saying it's been a year and a half since I've heard, do they think we're not serious? Do they think we gave up? I want to make sure people recognize that there is still interest, there is still progress. We just haven't hit that next stepping stone where we can renegotiate or re-communicate in a way that's much more direct rather than indirect. But I'm wondering if that's a possibility within the confines of the contract that we have currently with Monument to enhance and increase the level of communication to those that we are working on stuff for, because we don't want anybody to put things up for sale because they haven't heard from us in a while and they want to try to sell something. We don't want anybody to think that we're gone or we're no longer interested, because that might just complicate things in the future. So just a suggestion. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know what the cost is or what capacity is required to do that, but it can't be that hard when we're talking about 30 to 40 properties maximum. 37 is what's in my mind. I don't know if that's the right number. But just a suggestion.
I mean, that's the whole history, why we're talking
I think
about
that's a good idea. We can do that.
This is the
And
reason
I
we're
think,
talking about
I think to me, it looks like unlikely that in a year and a half they have not been reached out, because I think we did like a revised appraisal based on the feedback we received from them. If you remember, like Seychelles property was rejected by DWR the last time.
Yeah.
And then I think we sent it out again. And I mean, it seems odd to me if there is no communication before it was sent out a revised appraisal to DWR again. But I can definitely check with them and report an update on that on the next month's meeting,
Mary Jo,
especially for communication with Seychelles.
okay, thank you for that. Mary Jo, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to point out that the reason we're now dealing with the Clear Lake Duck Club is the original owners of the property, when this whole buying up card, I mean, they showed up to the meetings. They were so anxious to sell to the county, and then they just gave up because they didn't get any contact, and they put it on the market, and the Duck Club people bought it. So
This was years
one of
ago.
the bottlenecks, just talking with the DWR and Monument, is the amount of time DWR takes for appraisal or like to process the document. It has been like a really long time. And then I think I realized that like before, like once I was reviewing it, and I did ask them to do like a little bit faster processing. So they came up with something saying if it is like below $150,000 for the any acquisition, like they can process it with their real estate team, which can be like a faster process compared to like the normal approach which has been done till this point, which is sending all approval and everything to DWR's general services branch, which takes like much longer, because I think it's a different I don't know whether they have backlog or something is there, like which takes them longer. So they did approve this thing for our project that if it is below 150. So if you move the slide the next slide. I think I should have it somewhere. Angela, were you able to move?
I moved it to
Let's
four
move
point
one
two.
more.
I did, I moved it to 4.2. It was the next slide.
Okay. Yeah, so this one address is, so I think it might be the next slide, but I think I will go ahead and update on this one and then we can jump back onto that one again.
The next slide
that
goes to
okay?
5, item 5.
Yes. Does it include like communication with DWR?
That's item 6. For that,
Okay.
that
Yeah, so I
topic.
think I have that update on item number 6 then.
And again, if I can interject real quick, it would be nice to let us know if that's possible from Monument to be able to do that.
Yes.
For
okay.
some people, it's personal, maybe it's their home, but for some people, it's business. And I think no matter what, having that consistent communication to let them know there's still an interest rather than move on to the next people that might be taking interest. It would just be good for them to over-communicate rather than under-communicate, no matter what the reasons are. Yes, the state's taken a long time. Yes, all the processes in the steps we have to take are taking a long time, but just letting people know, hey, we're still here, we're still making progress, we're still interested. I think it's just an easy thing that we can do to let people know who to contact if they have any questions before taking any kind of action that might delay things further for us, or just to let them know at the least, hey, we're still here. We haven't disappeared off the face of the earth.
Yes, yeah. I guess that sounds like a good idea. Yeah, that's great.
Also mention the extra help, like that would be a total job for the program coordinator for this.
Yes.
In fact, that's part of that envision. That person should know every single seller, willing seller, non-willing seller. They should go to their door, say hi. They should be on consistent. They should have like reminders every 3 months. Here's an update on the project. Here's what we're doing. Here's where you are. Like that's definitely something they can be doing. They can definitely be more facilitating with Monument to ask them to do those updates, but also be the main contact for the property. So that's, and the idea is too, is this person that's hired is living here, not going anywhere, you know, where we've had so much turnover with coordinators that it takes a long time for project coordinators for this project to get up to speed with what needs to be happened and then send a letter, and they're here for a year and then they move on and then it takes another year to get up to speed. So
Always.
the idea of that, to have a dedicated staff that's just on this project and not distracted by other things to form those relationships, Bruno, because it is very important.
Yeah.
So, and that's something you guys, as the committee, you can direct that staff to do that. But I made a note here too, that would be something that during the interview process, we can ask.
Yeah, and I know there's been some movement in the department, there's been some changes, there's some learning that needs to happen. But at this rate, the way we've been going, at least the last year and a half, even though we got an amazing extension to 2028, we need Monument to work faster to get the properties completed, because we're not going to get a new extension to our deadline, and we're still at too many properties to acquire, and some are more difficult than others, and I don't know where Monument falls into the faulting them for their speed, but I just, I feel like we need to have a plan.
Yeah.
Because I thought that we would finish sooner than later.
And I think we have hand from Daniela. I don't know whether it's an old hand or.
It's a new hand. I just wanted to add to what Bruno was saying. There needs to also be clear communication from the county when they're receiving things like, oh, we're reappraising this, let me send it back to DWR, to let the property owners know, because Seychelles would not know that all of these things are going on unless I was sending them all these project updates. I don't know if you guys have them on your email list or if they're included in any of the notifications, but I have like been sending them all this, and they're like, and my last communication with them about your guys' project update that you sent out for November and then this agenda was on the 22nd. And they're like, well, we haven't heard anything from either the county or Monument.
Yeah, no, I think then if that's the case, we definitely need to keep them in loop or like keep more communication with them.
Sounds good to me.
All right. So, next is,
Yeah,
we have
so
to
I
stay
think
on.
moving on, I think, so the next one is, this is again something which came up in the last meeting. So there were like questions about the eminent domain or what the process would look like, how the monument gonna help us, or like do we need like an additional attorneys? So I discussed this with them, and that's what the update from that meeting came out saying, yes, they can provide the support for eminent domain. But in addition to their services, like we also need like an eminent domain attorney, and or we can check with county council, like if they can provide assistance. The estimated cost, I think it's not like a fixed figure, but roughly like we can expect it to be $100,000 more in additional fees per property. So which includes, I believe most of it will go to eminent domain attorneys, and the processing, filing, and those kind of things. For the eminent domain, like we can't use DWR funds, we have to use county funds or like some other things, but there is a chance we can explore the possibility with Army Corps if they can pitch in or find like some other source with, but I think that's what, there was one of their suggestion, but I think Army Corps, I believe expect us to acquire the land before they are, before they can do the project itself. So yeah, I don't know like what would be the other source we can pursue or start with.
So, I know in our last meeting, I was asked to speak with Anita Grant. I did speak to her, and she said county council is well-equipped to be able to handle eminent domain cases. So I think that we, especially right now, that I believe they are fully staffed now, which actually is more staffing than we had when Anita Grant was here. I think she always had one empty vacated seat that she just didn't want to fill in just in case there was a need for money, I don't know. But I think we have now a full load of attorneys that we can ask county council which one would be best, and what would be our process. And as far as funding, I can't think of anything better to spend our cannabis taxes on than to continue. We've already put in a whole lot for our 25%. We've put in a whole lot ready for PG&E, and we're still making money off of cannabis, and until it's no longer there, I think this is a great use of the funding to be able to move it towards a healthier environment and a healthier lake. So I'm not too worried about the overall cost. What would be awesome is if we can tweak the contract with Monument to allow them to start the process of the eminent domain under the guise of the contract that we have currently, so it can be spent on, we can spend the dollars from DWR, but that's just me trying to be sneaky.
And Jordan did reach out to Monument. It looks like she's an email from March 27th, 2024, asking about that process and how Monument can be involved. So Monument gave her a step-by-step process how they go through eminent domain.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they said that it usually,
Can you send that to us?
well, I was wondering if you guys wanted it as part of the next meeting.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
very clear.
Yeah,
Let's maybe invite county council.
Yeah, and they
Part of the
did
next meeting.
recommend, you don't have to hire a specialized eminent domain attorney, but it's recommended county council
Yeah.
to be involved.
There we go.
And then they said that it usually takes between 6 and 9 months, but can go much longer depending on circumstances and attorneys and all that. So, I don't know if you want to check with them, Puan, if this is still or invite Monument to the next meeting, so the step-by-steps are clear between county council, Monument, and the committee and the public. I'm not sure if that's acceptable or what you guys want, but I just want to say that it looks like Jordan kind of ventured down that road to figure out what that process was for you guys before she left.
If I may provide my suggestion, I would say let's invite county council, because I would prefer county council tell us what the process is that we should take versus Monument. Just because if we're going to be asking them to do it, they're not going to take direction from Monument. They're going to know what the process is. And
Right, but it might help answer your question of like what within their contract can they
Yeah.
do, and they can say, oh, these things, if it's like filing a hearing for a resolution, like maybe that's not in there, but maybe something else is that's on there, so that could help to give
Maybe they can
directions. That's a
appraise it
great,
for us.
yeah. So for next meeting, you want to invite county council? I'm not taking official minutes, Lucy, I'm just writing stuff down to
Eventually turn into minutes.
be, well, for the next meeting planning, to
Right.
get it on the calendar for county council and monument or whatever.
Summarize notes to
Yeah.
ensure we follow up. Yeah.
Appreciate that.
And then to add a eminent domain item, which would be under 4? Is it
Yes.
part of acquisition? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I concur with Bruno. I think just having the county council, I think having monument here too is a bit much.
Yeah, I think,
Keep working on the willing sellers.
exactly. No excuse.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, if they can provide that assistance, that would be great because I think most of this fees has to do with the attorney fees. So,
Okay. Any other questions from anyone online?
I have not checked the,
No, it's all right.
no, it doesn't look like we have any hands up.
All right, so we'll move on to item 5, about the Napati Bloody Island. And I know I'm on the ad hoc committee, but I don't really, from what I understand, they're still trying to sell, and that's that. But,
I didn't see it on Zillow.
no, they might have taken it off or something, but, yeah.
It's hard to sell properties around the holidays.
Even Zilla was like, what?
No, they have this robot with a confused expression when they can't figure out the basis for the price.
It's, the concept that I know that has been said before is that it's a historical situation, so that's why the price was driven up
Yeah.
for whatever reason, so.
I mean, I get it from their perspective, but we're also kind of handcuffed as to what we can and can't do. I mean, including others that have approached them and seen what's possible. That seems to have fallen through too.
Private party, let's say that I hypothetically go and buy it. I still gotta go through this body to do so, and it's basically an added cost. Because, okay, I buy it for, I don't know, it's 1.2 million or whatever they're asking for it.
1.5.
1.5, then I still have to go through the process of getting it assessed, because I gotta sell half of it back, right? So, yeah, I think, people are possibly starting to see that, I don't know, but, I know trying to talk to them has been a very hard task, and, I asked, I wanna say 2 years ago, and the only thing I got from that, I talked to, one of the owners because they were like, went to school with me and friends, but once I brought this up, only in writing, they wanted it, so left it at that, yeah.
Is this a property that was under consideration for eminent domain? Or is the justification of the cultural significance? Or
I mean,
what was,
eventually, we need to have the property for the project to move forward.
Right.
And so it's on the list of acquisition. I would hate for the optics of us doing eminent domain on Bloody Island. It sounds horrible, but at the same time, we can't buy up all the properties and have that one that doesn't allow the project to move forward. So I think all properties have the potential for the eminent domain. I just wish and hope that we can get to a better negotiating term for that.
Is this property indeed required for the project? Because I remember in the initial plots that it wasn't in the project,
It was
so.
a portion, I think, on one of the sides. Oh, yeah, you can't
this
really.
one's not, this is
Yeah,
not great.
but it's a little portion, but I think the thought was to get the other part of it.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
that thought was all going back to Peter Windrum and the original Daydreams. But I'm just wondering how that works with the Army Corps. But you feel there is a little, at least a section that's absolutely
Well,
required.
that's what I know in coming into this has always been a portion on, I can't explain it, but it's like, so when you go into reclamation, there's the hill where you see it, Bloody Island itself. It seems to be the right side of it that
Yeah,
needs
that
to
would
be,
be my
because it's
guess.
in.
I think that's the north side of it.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, there's also the issue that it's gonna be surrounded by water.
right.
But I hate to be the person from New York, but that's not our problem. If there's a piece of private property that's surrounded by
If you need a boat to
publicly
get there.
administrated, water, that, I'm just thinking about the rules and how you do a project. Is it in the project? If we need that little sliver, let's get that sliver, okay?
I'll have to review the map, and I'll do so right now since it's online.
I'm being the
on
anti-Peter
Water Resources.
here, just-
Yeah,
But
because I think
I don't
Peter brought it
remember-
into the conversation all the time when I was watching on Zoom, because it became a line item because he brought it up every month.
Yeah, and I agree with Peter, but I also
Gotta
think
move
about
forward.
the
No, but that's what I'm saying.
strict
You're-
interpretation of what the
you're-
project is.
That's why I think you're
Yeah,
right, is
yeah.
because he brought it into the conversation
Yeah,
at the early meetings.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't, so I think Carrie's right, and it was not.
So you're saying in the initial ones it was included, but it's included now, or we're just not sure?
in
the
initial
final
ones,
plan
in the initial ones,
of the
majority
properties.
of that historically important property was not included
Oh.
by the Army Corps. And the boundary left out most of that historically important property.
'Cause it was the elevated
And
part.
then Peter said, and wished, we all agreed with him, that we should try to get it.
Right.
As part of our efforts.
I think that was one of the ones that was brought up, and there were a couple other that I think Bruno brought up that aren't in the original.
Yeah, they're gonna be added to the validation study,
Right.
right? As
Yeah.
important to the project. Is there
Right.
thoughts of getting this one added, or getting this?
That was the whole.
So the validation study, one of the things the validation study can do, I assume, is change that boundary.
Because like
Yeah.
they have nothing south of the cutoff road.
Which is all gonna be
Like,
underwater and part of the
which is
project.
Gonna be the new outlet.
Yeah,
That's privately owned by the Rizikas.
Yeah,
Go over towards
Yeah,
know
and
what you're talking about.
that was also needed to be
yeah, but
added.
just bringing that up from the history of the
Right,
project.
Yeah, so that's all I have on it. If there's anyone else that has any concerns or comments, or anyone online.
I have nothing else, no hands online.
All right.
Juan, did you have anything for this item? And I'll move on.
No, I think I'm good. Yeah.
All right, so move on to item 6, California Department of Water Resources. Update on any correspondence with them. I know there's been some statements already made, but at the same time, we'll open it up for this. And just real quick, I'm gonna step out for the restroom. I drank this too fast, but so go ahead and move on, and you got the next item.
TMI, AJ.
Copy just goes right through.
Just be like, I'll be right back.
Pawan, I know that you were looking for item number 6 to provide some further information. Did you still need to provide more based on what we were talking about earlier?
Yeah, no, I think nothing like anything significant, but like just to reiterate it again, like if I didn't do it clearly before. So the property which would be purchased now moving forward under 150,000 can be done by Department of Water Resources Real Estate Branch, which is kind of their internal review kind of thing, or it's the same office, I believe, which we communicate with. So, which will make it the processing a little bit faster, because right now everything is going out to Department of General Services, which is like a sub-branch within the DWR,
Yeah.
and that's the one which is taking longer. So, but anything which is over 150,000 has still to go for their approvals.
have we ever had
because-
anything under 150,000?
There's some pretty small properties that we're looking at, so I wouldn't doubt it that it's possible. As of late, I would say no, but I guess Pawan would know better than me, but I definitely see some small properties that if they got nothing on there and no buildings, I can imagine them being less than
Okay.
150. Do you know the
especially
number of?
with like no buildings.
Do you know of
Yeah.
properties that are less than 150 per one?
Not like on top of my head right now, but I think there are acquisitions which has been done, and depending on like if we are dealing with two owners like within the party, or like the parcel is divided into two, it might be possible that it can be done.
Okay.
And I think the other thing, I received a request from DWR to provide them a progress report. So I did provided them the same bi-monthly update, which was for the month of November. And I hope like you guys had a chance to look at it. It was sent out like mid-November sometime. And basically like reiterates what we discussed on the last meeting, and then provide some of the updates from which is some of them might be here today, but there might be some which are not, and then it provides so I think I was not able to send it out the first month because I didn't realize that that this is the structure of it, like 1 month meeting and 1 month report. But we discussed that in our last October month meeting that we need to send out the report for the following month. And that's what I did. So hopefully you guys had a chance to review that.
Yep.
All right.
And I think we have a hand from Jenny Larkin.
Is that what you said?
I would suggest to the county and to the committee that you guys invite DWR to these meetings or have a separate meeting to get them in on these meetings, because they have no idea on the Army Corps process and the struggles that you guys are all facing. And they could also start providing you with other opportunities for grant monies to cover anything that's not covered under this current grant. Because this is a specific flood corridor grant, and there's a lot more available.
Didn't we used to have somebody from DWR?
I remember
I
having.
think we
some-
did.
Yeah, on occasion, I don't think.
Yeah, it wasn't
Yeah.
weekly, but or monthly.
I remember when Marina was still here, there was somebody, I can't think of his name. It was a gentleman from DWR who represented kind of the response to any contract questions we might have or something like that. But if that could be done again, that would be great.
Yeah, because
Yes,
on
I
a
get
conversation I
that.
just had recently, with DWR, they had no idea how far behind you all are on parcel acquisition and all of the things that you're facing. And so the different branches of DWR also don't talk to each other.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I see that might be an issue. So did you talk with Madankar? Because that's the project manager we talked with. And she's new, I guess, like last couple of months.
Yeah, we
No,
keep
I have
getting-
other DWR contacts.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
if
new
we-
people should be definitely invited to the meetings to get updated on stuff.
Yeah,
Now let's see if we can get DWR to come to our meetings. It's once every 2 months. We're not asking for a whole lot. If that's possible, it would allow us to have at least a conversation.
Yeah, I can reach out to her, like the project manager I talked with, and see if she can join us for next meeting.
Perfect.
thank you. All right. Anything else on this?
Hey, Pawan, when you're not speaking, can you just put the mute on? Just because there's a squeaking that's coming through, and I don't want to mess up the audio on the,
Okay.
and it's very.
All right,
Is
next
it better
is
now?
project area
No.
property maintenance.
Oh, yep, that's better.
Yay.
Thank you.
And I was, sorry, I'm looking for, I know that recently, wasn't there a property that we purchased, or is that?
It's Lydian.
Yes.
Yeah, we talked about this at the last meeting, the notes for item 7, because Jordan had some notes about that,
Mhm.
the demolition,
Uh-huh.
and that the house needed to be boarded up immediately. Pawan, do you know if that happened?
Yeah, no, I don't think I have any update on that one. Yeah, it would be either for next meeting or after spring, I believe.
Do you know if the property got boarded up though? Like if there's squatters in it, that's gonna be an issue.
Yeah, I don't know right now.
Okay, we can always ask Fred and Eddie to go check it out.
Yeah, okay.
Did you need me to do that?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Okay, so, I'll check that out at least for And then, last meeting, Supervisor Sabate asked if if you're in contract or working on the contract timeline. And I know that, the accountant today, our accountant Jackie, said that we have the solicitation is going downstairs, but it just is ready at any time for competitive bids or quotes to be recruited for that.
For the demolition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there hasn't been any other progress on that. And then I'll ask Fred and Eddie to go check that house out and make sure it's boarded up. And then if there's any squatters, we'll ask you, Paul, what to do, or Stephen.
Yep, that sounds good.
Okay. And that's the Madian property, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other comments? Any online? All right. Number 8, Army Corps of Engineers, update on the validation study.
So, yeah, I think the last meeting we held was 28th August, 2024. And the core ideas from those were the bullet points here, which is pivot to 902 validation study with NEPA done concurrently, coordinating with division and headquarters, which is their division and headquarters, which is Army Corps, and validating the previous plan and study. Their next meeting is tomorrow, December 3rd, 2 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. and you can find the link here, or you can, if anybody is interested, can use the WebEx meeting number and password to log in. So I joined those meetings, so I just put it here just in case if anybody who receives these updates or attends these meetings had a chance to join in or pitch in if they want to. Basically, I think the agenda item is to provide us, the county, an update on the validation study and discuss and address any other questions or concern anybody else might have.
This is Harry, I just want to make sure I could get to that meeting if I could
Yeah.
possibly do that, so I
Can you
know
send
that-
us the link?
Yeah, please.
Yes, I think I can send a link or ask Lucy to send it to everyone, I believe.
Yeah, send it out to the committee, that's great, Juan, thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Any other updates on the Army Corps? Any questions online?
Real quick, is there a public comment period for that? Is it after? Is it already happened? Did we miss it? Like, just kind of curious as to when that typically will open, or if it's different because of NEPA.
Is it like on the study or the draft of the study? Like, or in
just-
progress?
Like typically when we do an EIR or something
Right, right.
along those lines, there's a public comment period. Here they're
Right.
doing the NEPA on a fairly large project. Will there be an open for public comment where not just us, those that are involved intimately
Right.
in the process, but the public itself, agencies within the public itself might be able to provide comments?
Right, because this committee should share that information, right, with any partners or anybody in the impact area, yeah. I don't know, you might have to ask tomorrow's meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
About,
Yeah.
public comment period.
Haven't heard of one, so thought I'd ask.
Yeah.
I will say at the Hitch Summit, there was a Army Corps rep for this project, and she put together a cool fact sheet about it, about the process going through the validation of NEPA. So I have a copy of it somewhere, but that might be good information. That's all in one page. It has the project area
Yeah, that'd
and
be
the
great.
process for Army Corps. And depending, next item, PG&E, I can go look for it while you guys discuss this thrilling next item.
There's really not much to discuss.
You wanted-
You can't get out of the room before we finish that discussion.
So I did have a question regarding that one, if you don't mind, Chair.
Yeah, go ahead.
I know that we were supposed to at least make sure that you had the funding available, because we gave you $200,000, you being the Water Resources Department, to be able to initiate conversation.
Okay.
And wondering if that was if you had found all that money, Pawan, or I may have even told you that the money was allocated, but it could only be accessed once you need the money.
I know the answer to this if he doesn't.
I think that actually is where I ended up after I spoke to Stephen about it. But has there been any conversation initiated from Water Resources with PG&E?
No, I don't think so, but I think I will be reaching out them in January.
Okay,
I will say that it's been allocated from the admin side, but has not yet been put in the Water Resources or the Watershed Protection District budget. So for the mid-year, Pawan, make sure that you tell Jackie where it goes. I did tell her the name of it, but just confirm with her.
that's right.
So we can actually put it in our budget plans for next year.
Or else you can receive it, but you won't be able to spend it.
We won't have, yeah. But as far as admin, they've allocated it, it's reserved, we just
Yeah.
have to have it reflected in our budget.
Yeah.
Especially if PG&E's like, oh yeah, give us a deposit right now, and we can do that, then it's ready to go.
Awesome.
Sorry, I'm just feeling nostalgic with you using the pencil. I love it.
So how much did you?
It was $100,000 for distribution and $100,000 for transmission, and that's to like a deposit for them to start their design process. We'll figure out what all of that means in the long run, but
Today, everything costs $100,000. It's at sale. You can get eminent domain per property, you can get transmission, or you could choose to have all the way through transmission. That's good, 100 grand.
that should cover it.
Any other comments about PG&E Online or anything like that? All right. Legislative updates and next steps with anything that has to do with legislative.
I have no updates, but I'm wondering if EJ and I maybe need to talk to either our Assemblywoman Cecilia Aguirre-Curry or Senator Mike McGuire and see what they can do to help expedite some of the processes that are taking a long time. They've helped us in the past, and not sure if that's something that they can kind of be the squeaky wheel for us.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I seen her about a month and a half ago. It was about a month ago, actually, October. She was at the North Shore Business Association and had brought it up and asked how it was going, and I told her we're still struggling with it. Anything you can do? She said she'd look into it. I made connection with her staffer, so we're trying to set up a meeting with her. I go to Sacramento quite frequently, so if need be, I can, and if you want to be there too, we can figure that out.
I mean, if you're there, you're there. You can speak for us.
Okay.
And I know John Ferreira, our chief of staff, that guy moves mountains, so.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
Yeah, he will. All right, so next meeting, I should have an update on this then for sure, at least, because I want to set that meeting with her and talk to her about a few other things too, but that being one of the main ones. Because she highlighted it in that forum with everybody, like Middle Creek Restoration and AB 707 and all that, and I'm like, well, we need help, so.
Yeah, great.
Yeah. Any other comments online or anything like that? All right, project funding, 11.1 updates and next steps on current and future project funding.
I just want I want to thank Danielle for opening our eyes to possible more funding from the DWR. It's a good point. We're working with one aspect of this large agency, and maybe there's another. If we make contact with somebody again at DWR, it might be give us some hints on more funding. I think that's a good idea.
And they should be getting an influx of money with the Prop 4 approval.
Right.
There is a cutout in Prop 4 for 20 million for Clear Lake. I'm sure some of that's already kind of spoken for through Blue Ribbon Committee projects, but there's a lot of other projects in there, or funding in there for flood control, water resource management, and climate change.
How much is set aside?
20 million. That's line item. But I'm sure like 10 million of it's kind of technically already spoken for somewhere in there.
Oh, that's just great.
We'll take the rest.
Yeah.
How generous of you. Cut the paperwork.
Let me help you out.
All right.
Uh,
And-
Puan, I want to make sure I did tell you to put your thing on mute. I want to make sure that you talk, and then I have updates from questions that were asked at the last meeting about some funding stuff. Puan, did you want to say anything about the slide for item 11? And make sure you take yourself off mute. Oh, we lost Daniela.
Oops. Yeah. I was saying like, yeah, I don't have much to add. It was basically the main budget item almost looks same as the last time we had. And then there's the 11.2, like which I added for you to provide any update you want.
So last meeting, there was a question about the match funds that were provided by the board for the Middle Creek project from Tax Revenue General Fund. So within the year 2022, 2023, we spent down 81,250. And 2023 to 24, quarter one spent down 106,250. And in the 2025 quarter one, 50,000. So the remainder that's available is about 562,500, and the total that's been paid out has been 237,500. So there was a question about, are you guys using that money? Do you have it? What's going on? So yes, it's been used. It's moving right along. So thanks for that, making that possible.
Of course, it was perfect for that to be available when they decided to redo the validation study. The money was there to be able to help that move along. Question, we received a big check.
Yep, that's my next item.
Did we receive the actual money?
Yeah.
So the way that stuff works in the omnibus bill, and this was allocated in 2023, and so far our department has received 2 funds from these community grants through Mike Thompson. So this is one of them, and it was allocated to the energy and water development section of the community project funding. And it actually, the agency that's been given like charge of it to administer it is the Army Corps of Engineers. So I printed this out to show. So at the next Army Corps of Engineer meeting tomorrow, I guess, you guys should ask, and I told Paul on this too, to ask them, can you guys just get this money directly so it doesn't have to come down to the county and then we literally give it right back to Army Corps to do the validation study? They should literally just see it, and we have the proof from the omnibus bill from US Congress right here. It was allocated to them for Middle Creek, California, US Army Corps of Engineers, 750 from Mike Thompson. And so it should just literally just go, they should just keep it to finish the validation study, right?
I don't know how I feel about that, because we put money aside, we're using some of that money. Is it gonna take the $750,000 to complete it? Because I don't want to give them money that they don't necessarily need. I would almost prefer that the money come to us and we spend it as we go, especially there may be interest that we receive from it or whatnot. I don't know. I just, somehow I feel better about us having control over it rather than handing it over, because
Hey, Lucy, hopefully you can see that. Sorry. Back on, hopefully Puan, you can see that too. Back on the. Great.
Remember Garibaldi when we had him up for the Middle Creek and he kept talking about shouldn't use the Army Corps. An item below on this list is Garibaldi requesting money for the Army Corps. That's
$1 million.
For Yolo County.
I wonder.
Yeah.
He just sat there the whole, when the
Yeah,
coalition was talking with him, it was bad mouthing the Army Corps.
So we're back.
yes, we're back.
So if I can make one suggestion that I would like to ask Army Corps, and I can't go to the meeting because I will
We'll
be in a different
board, yeah,
meeting.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
My request is that they let us know what the tracking of those funds
Yeah.
are being used for, so that we can say, hey, you're done with the validation study, but what we see is you've only spent $500,000. What else can the $250,000 can be used for regarding Middle Creek? Like, I don't want it to say validation study's over, whatever the cost was, we're done, you lose the rest of the money. So that's what I would suggest, is we have something that helps us track the funding, so that we can vouch for where that funding should be utilized through the Army Corps process.
I think that's smart, and also just make them aware they have it here. Like NRCS wasn't even aware that they were allocated funds for our project. So you just make them aware too. And then
So what was the source?
it's basically,
Earmark.
earmark, yeah.
No, I know. but
They
you
for
said-
federal
but where
spending,
did
but
it
yeah.
go?
It's allocated for Army Corps to
No, I
spend on
got
this
that, but
project.
you said you had to dig further to find out where.
This is where it is.
Yeah, but
That's it.
You're talking about the omnibus?
Yeah. So it's the massive Congress
no,
bill,
no,
and then
I
this
know
is
that.
where it is.
but you said it was under something or other.
Oh,
You had-
energy.
Oh,
Oh, that's right.
if you take a picture of this, it's under energy and water development.
Okay, all
So
right,
this whole packet,
okay.
it
I got
lists the final funded projects and it lists all the departments. And so, it's not Homeland Security or Defense, so it's under energy and water development.
Okay, great.
You're sending us that?
I'm not, this is literally the only one I got
I
off
sent
Juan's
it to
desk.
you.
Oh, good.
I took.
So
I
you
took
guys,
pictures, so
this
sent
is
it.
the only copy. I'm gonna make a copy now for my records, but I don't have this digitally
Okay, good,
for some reason.
You-
I will
sent
now,
you
but
pictures.
good. We have pictures.
Do you guys want pictures?
I could scan it on my, like, just right here. You wanna hand it to me? I have a little scanning thing.
Say that again?
Right now, I think the question we want to ask them is about that 25%, right? Not like their share of that, which is 75% of the remaining.
Well-
Because they might have allocated a certain amount to that as well, I believe.
And I'm not going to debate with you the 25%. That's what we've always said as well, and that's why we set aside the 800,000 or whatever it was. But here it's more of an issue of, we got approval for $750,000, I think it is.
yep.
And we want to make sure, I'm not gonna argue either. It's so much easier if we don't have to administer those funds and ask for reimbursement and whatnot. So handing it over to Army Corps is not a horrible thing, but we want to make sure that they keep us in the loop as to how they're spending the $750,000, so that we make sure that they use the entirety of it and not stop at 300,000 and then we lose the rest, or stop at 500,000 and we lose the rest. We want to make sure that it continues to push the Army Corps in the whole entire grand scheme of the process of getting this through the finish line.
Right. And spend down their total 75%, so you guys aren't paying more than your
Yeah.
required 25%, yeah.
What would you call this?
What, that letter?
Yeah. Cause I'm gonna save it and then you send it to you guys right now.
So,
Thompson's,
yeah, it's his,
Like a press release almost.
I'm
It's
requesting
his-
funding.
it's his official request letter to the House Committee on Appropriations.
Appropriation request.
Yeah,
there we go.
for
Sounds
this
official.
bill earmark, yeah. We do appropriation requests to you guys all the time.
Yes, you do. And we consider them.
Yes. So far, I've been very lucky.
Okay, I'm just gonna send this to you now, so I don't forget.
No, thank you.
Um,
God, something smells good. I don't know what it is.
Oh, last time we got the meeting down on the first floor. Oh, I still remember how good that felt. Now, getting hungry.
Harry's.
know what-
What's your, because I know I have it in here, but is it, how's your email written?
MERRYJO,
M-E, like Merry Christmas,
yes.
J-O,
No
Yeah.
explanation.
Mary Jo at,
VELASQUEZ,
at,
outlook.com.
okay.
Yes, I was born in June. There's no explanation. She said it was my Aunt Elsie's idea.
It's very nice, but when you don't see it written out, when you do that first email search for
Yeah.
Mary Jo, you're searching forever because you keep putting an MARY.
Second letter.
I use the A, that's fine.
Yeah. It's like, oh, Mary Jo. Oh, I like that.
And then it should be coming right now. If it doesn't, let me know and I'll figure it away. All right, Caltrans.
Oh, next item.
Don't have anything. I know, if there's anything that you all could think of when I go to the next South Deal meeting, I can bring it up like during our questions and stuff.
Ask them if, Army Corps has reached out to them.
Okay,
But again, I'm not 100% sure of the decision that has occurred. I've heard it, but I don't have it memorized. Of the decision between Robinson and the Army Corps as to what's supposed to happen to help protect it, that whole situation with the flood levels.
okay,
But I think that either it's a seawall or it's a fill on the parking lot. Either way, I think there will be impact on Caltrans. And I think Caltrans, if they are not hearing from Army Corps, then maybe we need to figure out a way to connect it.
Why would it impact Caltrans?
Well, because if the parking lot is raised, that means the water's still crossing the highway to get to the parking lot. If there's a seawall built, it's probably within the right of way of Caltrans. And so they should be aware that the seawall is going to be built. But if there's not a seawall, then it's gonna keep creeping north, keep creeping north. And,
So they're
they have an easement on the highway.
in the Highway 20 that goes down? That-
basically where the flood levels are at, the 100-year flood would go clear across the highway into the northeast
Or parking lot.
parking lot of Robinson.
It floods every
Oh, I
time.
thought they were two different locations.
So is the plans, I know, Luis has a project to do like a wetland with a culvert that goes under that Caltrans road. Are those plans being coinciding with plans for Caltrans for raising the thing? Because Caltrans, they have the easement for the road, they also do the culverts.
Yeah.
To anything that their road displaces or causes runoff, they're also in charge of that. So Robinson just is working on a grant for that spot across the street from Robinson to put in a wetland and to kind of like funnel some of that stormwater from the parking lot into some retention basins and stuff, and then doing some creek restoration. But all of that won't mean anything if that culvert is changed or the flow is changed because of Caltrans changing that.
Yeah, I'd have to ask, we'd have to ask Luis on that, but also, I just had something and it just left my mind, but yeah, the Middle Mile project is looking to be moved forward too, and it's on the Highway 20.
The what?
Middle Mile, it has to do with,
Broadband.
broadband.
Oh,
So I don't know if that's gonna be, that would be an ideal time to put some measures in place.
yeah.
While you're digging.
Yeah, just make everything a little higher and save yourself some trouble later.
But that would be a good one for me to bring up while we're doing that. It's like, hey, think of build it so you're ready for it. rather than waiting until it comes, you know.
It's coming.
Yeah.
I like PG&E. It's just gonna flood and you're gonna deal with it.
All right. Any other comments or questions on Caltrans online or? Public expression, if there's anyone that would like to express something in public. 3 minutes to go ahead, and if it's not covered on the agenda, we'll go from there. All right, non-timed items, proposed meeting schedule for 2025. And, we're looking at other locations, so we can plan them now for the locations where we would like to have them. And I'm not tied to Lake Porter or Upper Lake anymore, and it's wherever's fine. Yeah, so I know last year I was like, oh, we need to do it. I'm fine with whatever. If everyone else is.
I mean, I think we have an online potential. It works for us to meet here, so I'm okay if it's always Lakeport. I'm okay if we move it around. I'd say whatever's easiest for staff.
Well, since it was really easy for her to go get her power cord.
If I left the office, I would take it with me.
But the dates and times, everything seems right. No holidays, no nothing, so yeah.
Anyone online?
I don't think Danielle is still with us, so it's Pawan.
Yes. I think we last year we had, or this year we had like at least 2 meetings in Upper Lakes. Or was planned 2 meetings. I'm not sure like if both went there,
I think
but
we only had one.
We don't need it.
Yeah. But you got good attendance at that, right? Jordan said there was some people there.
Daniela.
yeah, I mean,
really
I
don't
have
remember.
attended the
Go
meeting,
Jordan.
like other town halls or other, they are at the Upper League, and it seems like, yeah, people do show up on those meetings, so.
So-
I don't know if we want to keep at least one there and then decide later on if we want to change.
Go ahead.
So I think what's important more than where these meetings take part is for us to come back and talk to the Board of Supervisors and update the board as to where things are. And so,
Yes.
I would suggest maybe around, the June, August timeframe. Right around mid-year where things are being budgeted and whatnot, just to kind of give a brief update as to where we are and what we're working on and maybe concerns, things for the board to be prepared to look forward to, whatever.
So how many new board members are there?
2.
Two, Brad Rasmussen, and so far it looks like Helen Owens.
Yeah, I was like, has accounting finished?
It should be done tomorrow.
Okay, there probably won't be 800.
New board members, do you want to do it a little earlier than mid-year?
It's really up to, again, I would say EJ and I can talk about it, but I think staff would be involved, and so I don't wanna, I don't wanna give a specific date without knowing when would staff be available, do they have the time to be prepared ahead of time? So I think we just figure out as time goes by, but I think it's always good to come back and give an update to the board, cause eventually the board does care and does, want to make sure this project happens.
If you guys hire a program coordinator in the next couple months, which is the realistic timeline.
Like by March, we hope to have somebody.
Yeah, June is a good timeline for them to get kind of updated, have a meeting and be able to help present.
Add that to the job description. Present to the board.
That's literally in the program coordinator job description, is providing updates to the public and officials.
Good, yeah.
So where are you advertising this?
Right now, just
Everywhere.
on Facebook, but it's on the HR
I've seen
website.
it on LinkedIn too.
Oh, yeah, I think HR puts it on LinkedIn, yeah,
Okay.
and so,
Yeah, I was also thinking about, we were gonna do this at one time, and I think COVID or something, or new changeover was to have something for the sellers, willing sellers, whatever the case may be. We were gonna have it locally, either at Upper Lake or Nice or Lucerne or somewhere, not Lucerne, I'm sorry, Nice or Upper Lake. And, it was gonna be an opportunity for folks that are in that area to come to this and talk about it, but I don't know, did we do that or did we?
No, we didn't.
But again, I agree that maybe once we get this person in place, that person coordinates that.
Yeah.
And sends them their documents or sends them a request or a invitation to come and talk about the Middle Creek Restoration Project and how they can be involved and, you know, that eminent domain may be coming, when it will be coming or whatever, you know, so. Yeah. It's just a wave that's sitting far back in the ocean right now, but it's coming. So, yeah, I only brought that up because I just wanted to see if you guys remembered that.
No, I do.
Yeah.
It was like an informative type of meeting to ask us any questions. How could we make it easier to understand the process? Yeah, I do remember that.
So I think that covers the meetings unless there's any other comments.
Well, that covers 4.1, there's
Yeah.
4.2.
Do we need to approve?
Oh, is that an
So
action?
the dates. You guys have to approve the meeting dates and locations.
I move to approve the 2025 meeting calendar for this committee.
I second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed?
Now it's official.
0 opposition, 0 abstentions. Motion passes, and then we have 14.2. Juan's alternate for the Middle Creek Project Committee meetings.
Well, we sure hope that it will be the program manager that is
Yep.
hired.
That's what they're supposed to be.
And we've put in a recommendation to ask if Angela can also continue. And so I think that at least fills in the interim until we hire that new person, and we'll see what happens.
And there was interest from one of the Hitch project coordinator to attend at future meetings, just to provide an update on Hitch projects in the area too, and to learn more about the project, but
Really helps
I
because.
told him this would not be a good use of his time today,
That would be good because this is
time in the future.
one of the things that will help for those,
Yeah,
the hitch to survive.
So I have a huge apology. There's something in the meeting minutes that had a question mark, and I didn't mention what that should be, because it was more of a question of, I have no idea what Bruno said. And so right now we approved it with question mark 28. It's on page 6 of the meeting minutes on 11.1. I'm wondering if we can amend the motion to now all of these amendments where what I meant was 2028 was our deadline for spending that money. And so I don't know if it was Lucy or someone else, but put question mark 28. But it was all about future project funding. What's the expiration on using the contingency? And I didn't feel a question mark was a useful meeting minutes review.
So you want to ask if someone can make a motion to amend the meeting
I'm just wondering.
motion from earlier to add this in for
If we
the
could
updated
reopen the
minutes?
previous one, and I
Oh, okay, is that how you
apologize.
do the reopen? Okay.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to open item 3.1.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Yeah, I'll second.
All right, I have a second. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, and we'll go ahead and open that up.
And so I believe we're changing rain to ring, and then from the question mark 28 to the year 2028. And I believe those were the only changes that we made earlier and the additional change
So at the top, agenda to minutes.
and agenda to minute.
Yeah.
Yeah,
um,
to meeting minutes.
I think you need more than just the date of the 28th.
Oh, yeah, the whole sentence.
Okay.
So proposing to say 2028 was the deadline for spending the current grant dollars.
Yeah.
Including contingency, technically would be. It seems like that's probably what.
So I move to approve the meeting minutes with the newly fully informed amendments.
I second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Aye. Motion
Thank you.
carries 301, and we will move on to, I think it is adjournment, right?
Okay, so we're not starting all over again.
All right, see you at the next meeting, which is February 3rd, 2025, 10:30 a.m. here. Same
Or
place.
teams.
Or Teams, yeah, Teams for sure. We'll make sure it's noted, anybody
Yep.
online, it's Teams, it's not going to be Zoom. Hopefully we can all navigate that. I still have a tough time.
Well, we'll be here in
Yeah,
person.
We'll be in person, so, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Juan.
Thank you.
Safe travels.
Yep.
So